Hi everyone, today we're here to talk about how to gain a faster plucking hand. So before anyone freaks out and goes, what's a plucking hand? I've never heard this term and what is going on? Basically a plucking hand is your right hand if you're right-handed, which looks like the bass going this way. If you're left-handed, the bass is going to be flipped upside down, which means your plucking hand is going to be your left hand. And basically what it is, it's the hand that's going to be doing the actual playing of the string. So it's the one where your fingers connect to the string, or if you're playing with a plectrum, which we'll do later, it's where the plectrum connects to the string as well. So that is your plucking hand, just so everyone can start on the same page, doesn't have to freak out, everyone knows what we're doing moving forward. Just disclaimer, because loads of people hate this word, this lesson involves a metronome, but it doesn't involve a metronome to the traditional standard that we use it. We're going to be using a metronome in a slightly different way, and it's actually really simple as long as you start slowly and then build it up. So the idea with this is, because we're just looking at our plucking hands, we need a pattern that your other hand, your fretting hand, we need a pattern that can do on repeat without thinking about it. And the easiest way to do it is to pick 3 frets. I'm just going to play 5, 7 and 8. So I'm going to play the 5th fret of the E string with my 1st finger, the 7th fret of the E string with my 3rd finger, ring finger, and then my little finger is going to play the 8th fret of the E string, and we're just going to go 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. You want to make sure you can do that without thinking about it. And the reason why is because then we can concentrate on this hand instead, and we're going to do 2 different things. We're going to start with our index, so we're going to go index, middle, index, but then we're also going to reverse it and do middle, index, middle. So we're going to play 2 different things. My left hand is still on 5, 7 and 8, and it's going to sound like this. This is with no metronome, just played randomly, but this is what we're going to be doing for the whole exercise. So it goes index, middle, index, 5, 7, 8, index, middle, index, and then the other version is going to be middle, index, middle, 5, 7, 8. And we're going to do it really nice and slowly, even slower than that in a second. And you might go, okay, well if we're doing it really slow, how are you going to gain the speed and how are you going to gain a better plucking hand? The idea is if we can do it slowly, we can speed it up. You need to make sure that you can get all of these notes really clear, use the right fingers or the right direction of the plectrum, which we'll talk about in a second. And the idea is that if you can do that really slow, use the metronome in a second, which I'm going to teach you how to do, and you'll get a really fast plucking hand to the point where nothing will slow you down. It's not going to help you play every song in the world, but it means that you're going to have really good technique, really good control, which means you've only got to worry about your fretting hand rather than your plucking hand. Trust me, if you want to worry about one hand, it's better to worry about the fretting hand, because this changes from song to song, whereas the plucking hand doesn't. And trust me, you don't want to worry about both hands, because that's just a car crash waiting to happen. So this is going to help you get out of that way of thinking, get you playing really well, and you'll thank me for it later, hopefully. Or in a couple of weeks when you realize that it does work. Stick to it, practice, 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 practice. Trust me. So that was only on the E string. We want to do it across all 4 strings, because then we're just getting used to playing every string of the bass, because obviously we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Makes sense? So I'm just going to quickly go through all of that. So we've got 5, 7, 8, down a string, or up a string in terms of sound, depending on how you want to look at it. We're on the A string, so we go 5, 7, 8, to the D string, 5, 7, 8, to the G string, 5, 7, 8. We can go backwards, but for now we're just going to keep it going this way. If we're using a plectrum, so let me just get my plectrum out. Talk amongst yourselves. Okay, so I've got my plectrum. If we're going to use a plectrum, what we're going to do is we're going to replace your index finger for going down, which means towards the floor, and your middle finger for going up. So we're going to play the same notes again, but we're going to go down, up, down, and then the other version is going to be up, down, up. And it doesn't matter which you use. I'm going to use my fingers for this, but it doesn't matter if you use plectrum or your fingers. It works the same way. So just bear with that. Decide how you want to play it, and trust me, this will happen. You'll become really fluent in whichever technique you decide to use. So let's talk about why the metronome is not in a traditional setting in this lesson. Well, the reason why it's not is because we're not going to be playing rhythm to the metronome. What we're going to do is we're going to set the metronome at 70, and every time the metronome ticks, which is 1 beat long for anyone that knows, we're going to play each note. So the first click of the metronome, we're going to play 5. Second click of the metronome, we're going to play 7. The third click of the metronome, we're going to play 8. And then we're just going to keep repeating that over and over again. Yes, that technically is in rhythm to the metronome, but we're not going to be playing different rhythms. We're not going to be playing 2 notes for each click, 3 notes for each click. All we're going to do is make sure your note lands perfectly on that click of the metronome, and then we're going to speed it up by 5 BPM every time. So once you can do 70 and you're really comfortable, 75 is the next goal, 80, 85, 90, all the way up to wherever your metronome maxes out, which could be 300 or 500. 500 BPM sounds insane, but if we're playing it only when it ticks, it's going to be really fast, but you will be able to do it. If we try to do a different rhythm at 500 BPM, your head would explode. If you don't know what 500 BPM sounds like, get your metronome out, set it if you can, because some metronomes don't go that high, press play, be prepared to have your ears blown off, because that is too fast to play for anything. So that's the reason why we're not using a metronome in the traditional sense. So every time it ticks, make sure you're landing that note on the click and you're absolutely fine. So just to recap, we're going to do 2 different things. We're going to go 5, 7, 8 on every string, but with your plucking hand, because I'm using my fingers, I'm going to explain the finger style again. It's going to be index, middle, index, and then we're also going to do middle, index, middle. So we've got 2 different exercises that we need to do at 70, then we do 75, 80, 85, and trust me, when you get to like 200, 220 BPM, you'll start to notice that you are playing a lot faster, a lot smoother, and you're not actually technically doing anything, which is good because this is really simple. Anyone can do it, even if you've just started playing bass yesterday. So let's get that metronome, let's put all of that into practice so you're not just listening to me talk forever. It's always a good thing, right? And then let's actually do it. Let's commit to it and let's get better as a bass player. So that was that exercise played to a metronome at 70, 90 and then 300, just to prove a point, to the point where even 300 isn't that fast. But there is two things that we need to do to help you get a better plucking hand now that you understand how we're using the metronome. One is that you want to be able to play just one pattern on the string as many times as you need to. So I played each pattern once on each string and then jump to the next one. You do not have to do that. You could stay with the pattern on the E string and just go 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8. You can also alternate between going index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. So the first time you play it, you do index leading, and then you do your middle leading. So index, middle, index, middle, index, middle. So what we're doing is we're playing the pattern more than one time on the same string. That's something that you should do because it's building up endurance. So the idea is you don't have to play it just once before you jump to the next one. I'm just showing you how it sounds to a metronome so you can get a good idea of to what's going on. And then you can use this in any way, shape or form that you like. It's going to massively help your plucking hand. Same with playing with a plectrum as well. So you could go down, and then the next time you play it, up, down, up. So you're alternating between the two. The other thing that we want to do as well, which is going to really help, is we want to put a stopwatch on or a timer and see how long and how fast you can play that pattern with your fingers or plectrum before you get tired. I recommend you do what I call the one on, one off technique, which basically means you do a minute playing whatever it is that you're doing, so 5, 7, 8, a minute solid of just going 5, 7, 8, which means with your fingers, you're going to go index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, index, middle, because you're going to rotate and alternate between the two. If you're playing with a plectrum, it's going to go down, up, down, up, down, up, and you're going to basically alternate that pattern and loop it for a minute solid, and then when that minute hits the end, you take a minute off. So minute on, minute off. And the reason why we do that is because then it gives your brain and body chance to just relax, understand what's just happened, take in more information, and then you try it again. And the reason why is because if you just keep playing for 4 or 5 hours solid, your plucking hand is going to get really tense, the muscles are going to really hurt, it's going to feel really bad. So do 1 minute on, 1 minute off, and you can build the endurance nice and steadily, no issue, everyone can do this. Doesn't matter whether you're a beginner, intermediate or an advanced player, this will really help you to build up endurance in your plucking hand. So that was at 70, 90 and 300 BPM, just so you were aware of what just happened. You do need to do it in increments of 5, so 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, etc. We just picked those 3 at random just to show you that it can be done and how it sounds. So hopefully you found that video and information useful. It definitely will help you if you take your time with it. So hit that like button below and hit subscribe to follow us on YouTube to get access to loads more content, and head over to my exclusive Patreon page where you can tell me exactly what you want to learn from a bass playing point of view, and I'm willing and ready to teach you whatever it is that you want. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.